It's Edge Radio Australia. Malloy with you, pressing the buttons today for a bit of community focus. Now, I enjoy community focus. I love getting people in who are engaged in the community, who are actually making a difference. And the fella in front of me, Wayne Evans, this is a guy who wants to make a difference. Absolutely.
Trying.
You're giving it a red hot go. Now, you are the state secretary, as I understand, of the Red Union. Okay?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, straight off the cuff, I'm not keen on the name, okay? I mean, not red. I think of the things that I don't like in life, like communists, like the Labor Party, which is the same thing. I mean, socialists, all that. But it actually has a far deeper meaning and a far more important meaning. And great to have you here, mate. It's a great pleasure. You've also been a political candidate in the past and perhaps even the future. We'll probably talk about that. We'll see how that pans. But before we go any further, can you just tell everyone, give a little bit of an overview, if you like, of what is the Red Union about?
So Red Union is an umbrella name for our company that represents all the different associations for employee associations. So whether you're talking about, a lot of your viewership would probably be familiar with AMPS, the Australian Medical Professional Society.
Very much
Then
so.
there's the Teachers Professional Association, the Nurses Professional Association, the Sworn Officers, which is the SOPA. I'm the secretary federally for them.
Okay.
And then we've got the Independent Workers Union of Australia, so the IWUA.
Okay.
So all of those different associations registered in each of the different locales are what represent our working members out there of the Australian workforce.
Sure.
And we represent them as far as their individual rights in workplace advocacy. And if it goes to a legal jurisdiction, we've got Red Law and we've got Red Union solicitors in Queensland. So we've got different entities.
Which is very important, let's be frank. Absolutely,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So for myself as an industrial advocate and a licensed industrial agent in Western Australia and in South Australia, I represent our members in those jurisdictions.
Sure.
And then in a lawful sense, if it does go to law, we've got those two law firms to do that.
Okay. What is fundamentally different about you guys compared to our traditional unions? I mean, we hear the word union, everybody thinks about, obviously, look, maritime unions, the
CFMEU.
Spot exactly where I was going on there. These sort of unions who might not have the greatest of reputations. And let's be honest, in the past, unions are there for a very important reason, and they're there to represent the worker. So often that's not the case.
Yeah,
so
historically that's been where they started, and it's sadly deviated from that position. And what most of your viewership may not know is that, and I look, this is not up for debate, this is a fact, most of your legacy unions support a political movement, and it's the Labor Party.
Spot on.
And all of the Labor Party take their candidates from the unions.
They do. They do. And it's very much become, quite frankly, just the place where you are monetising, where you are funding the political movements, and the Labor Party in this particular case. It's pretty much almost all the unions are involved in that. That's when you look at, and there's also other organisations like Get Up, which are related very strongly to the Labor Party. So you're not really getting true representation.
No.
And the other thing,
sorry, go on, Aaron.
I was just going to say something that's important, and I make no secret about it. I'm very much anti the Australian Labor Party, and certainly the West Australian Labor Party, and just their draconian ways.
I'm the same.
Yep. So, I don't pretend, we don't hide under this little journalistic thing.
I don't care one less about that.
No, absolutely. I think it's important to be honest, right? The thing is that most people don't realise is this is very much, it is a socialist organisation, the Australian Labor Party, and therefore you can't cross the floor. You can't have a conscience vote. So if you have a person sitting there in the Parliament who is there with the Labor Party, now they are paid to represent you, okay? You. What happens is that, no, they don't actually represent you. They represent the unions, whoever's funding them, or the demands of the party. So they aren't actually allowed to represent you. So it really makes in so many ways, it makes the party almost null and void. It just becomes this control and power organisation.
Which is where we differ. We've always been, from our outset and our continuum, and it's written into our constitution.
Fantastic.
We will only ever support our member. Brilliant. We don't make any political campaign donations. We don't make any contributions.
So glad to hear that.
Yeah, we don't do anything on that nature. Yeah. The only money that we have coming in is on a business model of our membership fees.
Right, yeah.
We don't get funding from the government. We don't get any subsidisation, nothing. Okay. It's a purely commercial model.
Okay.
So we purely represent the interests of our members. All of the expenditure that we have in the sense of the growth is about facilitation of service for our members. So, for example, whether we can offer better professional indemnity insurance, whether we can offer better CPD, whether we can offer, as we're going to be doing soon, things like red insurance or
great.
Yeah, other ancillary things that will be benefiting our members. So when it comes down to it, the model that we subscribe to is a purely commercial model based on having members and therefore being in business.
Okay.
That doesn't mean we don't have, like myself and a number of others, our own viewpoints on politics.
Well, you're a human being.
Correct.
Okay? You can't separate that.
Yeah, no, that's right. So the fact that I am a Liberal Party member, the fact that I've been a Liberal Party candidate, doesn't mean that I'm one of these clowns who stands there and supports the party line all the time. I think in order to have good political environments, you've got to be able to have an airing of opinions.
You do.
And that's where the Liberal Party is better at doing that than most of the other options.
Sure.
So for us as an entity at Red Union, we only drive the vehicle in a sense of what are we doing that delivers a better outcome for our member in a tangible and noticeable difference.
Yeah.
So if that means we have to campaign against legislation, if that means we have to do policy, then so be it. Because if it impacts the outcomes for the member, that's what we're only there for.
No, well, that makes it. Well, that goes back to the true meaning and the roots of what a union was there for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, one of the funny things that I am astounded by is how many people through the mandate period went to their union and said, hang on a sec, this is a breach of our rights, our fundamental human rights.
So clear.
Freedom of choice and body autonomy is a God-given right.
That's right.
And it was not granted. And most, if not all of the unions, in actual fact, let's call it for what it is. I don't know any other union that actually stood against the mandates. We did. Our boss personally took out loans to make sure that the legal bills were paid. And we're talking substantive amounts of money.
They would be. Yeah. There's no such thing as a cheap legal case, let's face it.
Tens of thousands of dollars a month to support our members, to make sure that they had people fighting for them. And it's because of Red Union that we've seen the royal submission of the COVID deaths. We've seen the mandates in Queensland dropped. We've seen the mandates in South Australia dropped. We've seen the book Too Many Dead published. We've seen COVID Revisited published. We've now been responsible for helping and aid the submission that Adrian McCrane or the gang from Port Hedland did.
Fantastic
this is
stuff.
what we're doing. I'm actually meant to be talking tomorrow night at a council where I'm going to be putting my statement forward. And this is what we do. So Cara Thomas, who is the secretary for AMPS in Australia, she started this. It is Cara Thomas who has carried a huge load for the country. And it is Red Union who has allowed and facilitated that. So for me to come in here and pretend to be that, I'm not. I am just piggybacking on the good work.
Well, I appreciate that. And the fact is, you've come in here and, you're in a situation here where, I could start picking you to bits and I go, hang on, look, oh my God, his Liberal Party is this, is whatever. No. I think, you know what, it's important to listen to people and then bring their opinions forward. Conversation, discourse is so important. You need to agree with people, disagree with people. You need to hear other opinions. And I love the fact that we're very clear about this. I love the fact that you're talking about the particular people involved. And transparency is the way forward on this.
Yeah.
It really
and look,
is.
Aaron, I want to say this as a personal note. This has nothing to do with Red Union, but we'll just glance on it so I can dispel this for some of your viewership. I joined the Liberal Party because in this country we're a part of the Westminster two-party preferred system.
We are. Yep.
So like it or not, one or the other is going to be the governing party. And we can have independents and we can have other parties that stand for good things. Malcolm Robertson, the One Nation Party, Matt Canavan from the Nationals, Senator Babbitt from the United.
These are all fantastic people who are standing up for our beliefs.
Love them. They have my utmost respect. When Malcolm was here in Perth last Friday, I made a point of going and seeing him and saying, thank you for your good work. Because I recognise above policy lines of your party, I recognise as a person people who do good work. And that's what's important here. I don't necessarily stand there and say to people, and this is why I want your viewership to know, I'm not a Liberal man just because I'm a Liberal man. If I have a differing opinion and you ask anyone in the Liberal Party, I tell them it. And sometimes that makes me a pariah, but I'm okay with that. Because I feel that if you can't have a different opinion and have a different, robust conversation.
Sure.
What the hell are we doing here?
What are we doing? Exactly.
That's right. I mean, what the hell are we doing here?
Well, look, the situation we find ourselves in.
It's a pretense then if we're thinking we're free, because we're not.
We're not. I mean, look, the situation we find ourselves in right now is we've got a dictatorship in this
100%.
state. Okay? One-party state, right? When you've got Labor controlling both houses. So in my eyes, okay, and this is my opinion, and I'm not going to tell anyone how to vote, but I certainly know what I would like to see. I would like to actually see a Liberal government with a very, very mixed, upper house, okay, for checks and balances. That's what I want to see, right? I want all the parties involved to be accountable.
Yeah.
Because then if you've got to do deals, if you've got to talk to multiple different parties or independents.
It's done on the balance of merit.
Absolutely, yeah. That will bring good policy through and it'll be refined, and that's what we need.
Yeah,
now,
and that's what we need.
Yeah,
we need an opposing house.
We do.
It doesn't matter if it's all Liberal and no Labor or Labor and no Liberal. That's not a good system.
It's not good at all. It needs to be as mixed as possible.
Yeah,
so
it does.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like the fact that Red Union is not is not out there campaigning and putting funds towards either party. I think it's a really positive thing. I think you've got to keep it that way.
Yeah, and that's written in our constitution. Yeah. We will not be doing that.
That is fantastic.
And the only reason we are talking about politics today is because it's better to have these things covered off when people go, oh, but I still always remember the Liberal Party.
Yeah.
Well, big deal.
Big deal.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm a member of the cricket club, the football club, this club. Oh, I couldn't care less. This is what I am. And as far as what we do as an entity, I'm beholden to our beliefs. And in our own internal company mission statement, I love it. Jack Maguire and the rest of our team came up with this basically at the inception of me coming on board.
Okay.
What do we stand for? And we say we're going to save Western values. And you know what? Save Western values. Wow, cool. Where do I rip the shirt open and put the cape on? What does it mean? All right.
Wow.
And what does it mean? So
to me, might be something very different to you. I mean, to me, okay, Western values, I mean, very much, okay, I want small government. I want the ability and freedom to make decisions for myself and my own family. I don't like being forced into things that, don't ethically gel with me. Okay. I think ultimately, and this is a big thing, it is small government. I think that is the biggest thing. I think it's really, really important. But I also believe in a system where I don't care about people's religion. I really couldn't care the colour of the skin, who you sleep with, any of that going to carry on. But I do believe Australia is built on a Christian foundation, and I would like that maintained. Okay,
yes. Yep.
I think it is a fundamental thing about the culture of this country,
100%.
And I think that should be maintained.
Yep.
Got plenty of room for everybody else's thoughts and that, but I think that it should be well, you talked about a constitution. That is a core of what Australia is all about.
It's core of our fabric.
Absolutely.
And whether it's written in the constitution or not, I think it's definitely acknowledged around the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's very parochially Australian.
Very much.
And for us as a company, when we say we're going to defend Western values, we talk about go local, so smaller government, right?
Definitely.
Let doctors be doctors, manage their hospitals, manage their clinics. Let teachers be teachers, manage their schools, manage their local environment. So we're all about decentralization of these huge bureaucracies, which are basically faceless and unaccountable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. We believe in the fundamental right to freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom of the protection of the individual rights.
But these are things we shouldn't even be needing to discuss.
No.
How ridiculous is it?
It is ridiculous.
These are not privileges. These are absolute rights.
They're God-given.
Yeah, they certainly are.
And you know what annoys me the most?
What's that?
Is when you see people like Mark McGowan getting stuck up on the billboard as having saved this state. And then I heard the other day, and I'm yet to verify it, so this might be a bit of a contentious conversation, but I believe he might be getting and receiving an award by the RSL club. Okay?
Really?
Now, don't quote me on that because I want to find that out. But
let's check that out.
But at the end of the day, when we talk about celebrating our soldiers, the people who went to war and died to make this country the beautiful country that it is and has been, that, quite frankly, is pissing on their graves.
Oh, look, it gets worse than that, and I will tell a personal experience, a bit of a story here. Anzac Day, I had the absolute privilege of being invited to be part of the event they had at the concert hall. Okay, it was a very somber occasion, and as I say, a great privilege to be there, to be thinking about our diggers and sacrifices. Now, I sat there 10 meters away from Mark McGowan. Okay. So I'm not in the cheap seats, okay? And that man showed complete, utter disrespect all the way. Apart from the fact that he almost fell asleep, he did while this was all going on. I'm hearing these amazing, as I say, soldiers, former soldiers, people with incredible legacy to this country who were telling their stories, and he literally was leaning back, legs crossed, like he was laying on a deck chair, in the Bahamas, and closing his eyes from time to time. Okay, arms folded.
It's contemptuous.
It's exactly what it was. It was utter contempt. So if the RSL feel like that's something that should be, given some sort of accolade, RSL needs to be, we need to have a good hard talk.
Yeah. And look, I'll wait to see if I've got that verified.
Yeah. Well, I just want to lay that story out because that's a personal experience of mine. I take great pleasure that the man spotted me in the crowd and refused to make eye contact with me just because he's weak.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't appreciate when one of the things I can't stand in life is weak men, quite frankly. And that's one reason why I will always support things like the Red Union, because I like men and women who stand up for what they believe in. It's so important.
Yeah.
Because sometimes let's be honest, it's a tough call to make.
It's hard, mate.
Yeah.
It's not without its grief.
No, absolutely.
And it's not necessarily evident to everybody, but you get wrongly labelled.
Of course you do.
And people who don't, ignorance is the worst crime out there, right? People who don't understand are the ones who hold the most malice towards you. And then there's the other side of the fence of the others who come from the legacy unions who want to see us not survive.
Of course.
Who don't want us to get strong. So we appeal to our West Australian, let's talk about Australia, but I run WA. I'm appealing to the WA audience.
Okay.
I would like everyone to go and check out our Red Union website, www.redunion.com.au, and see if any of those associations fit their work category descriptive. Because unless we grow, we don't get more teeth.
From what I've seen so far, I would personally endorse you, okay? And not just you, I mean the entire group, because I have dealt with several different arms of this, obviously AMPS being the clear one. I've had a lot to do with the nurses, particularly early on in the what has gone on in the last few years.
Yes.
I'll keep away from that word. Ridiculous as it is, but censorship is so ridiculously strong.
Big time.
Yeah, so, okay, knowing those people, the integrity of those people that I dealt with personally, I can see that you're doing the hard work, okay? You are putting things in place. And this is so important, okay? It is very easy, and I'm not having a go by any stretch of imagination. It's so easy to go, share some Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or X or whatever it might be, okay? We need to make actual changes in society, in our structures, to make this actually work, okay? We need good politicians. We need good unions. We need good media, right? Now, the way that we go about this is strong people who step up and actually will do that. Now, my world's the media. Now, I'm loving the fact that right now it is only the people who take their major information of media, okay? Now, those who take it from the legacy media, the corporate media that we've traditionally always followed, it's only 20% of the population now. 80% of the population is looking at, smaller entities all around the world, but independent voices. This is so important.
Yeah.
Now, I say that because I know my space. I'm not a union man. So I do know this. I want to see people going, okay, I can see an organisation really stepping up here, and I want to actually support that and be part of that. So for me, I want to see that.
Thank you, Aaron.
Please support yourselves. Look, this is the way we make change.
Yeah.
We can't just go throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to work with the parameters that are in front of us. Let's do the best with what we can, and let's build better systems and better people and better infrastructure.
100%. And look, that comment there about whether we're talking about the union, whether we're talking politics, whether we're talking media, is absolutely right. The problem I see, and look, I'm involved in a lot of sporting clubs.
Yep.
And a lot of people know me, and some of them go, man, this guy's full on. All right. And I have to sometimes tone myself down.
Right. Because I have a belief in life. Go hard or go home.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. So I'm the guy that goes hard. And some people can't take that go hard approach. So I have to, out of respect sometimes, tone it down.
Okay.
Not because I don't want to go hard, but because otherwise you turn them away.
That's a good point.
So what I try and do is I pick my audience.
Okay.
And in front of the boys who know me through the sporting avenues, I tell them straight to their face.
Okay.
Grow a set,
Yep.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Okay? Because it is what we need. Otherwise, we all die on our knees. And unfortunately, the things that made this country good, the things that were fought for when people did die for it, are quickly being eroded. And we need to have a presence in our space because I've never seen so much tyrannical nonsense perpetrated on our good working Australians who otherwise don't have a lot of the amount of times our members say, I was a member of XYZ union and they did nothing.
They did nothing.
They did nothing, right? I'm talking about all sorts of issues here.
Sure.
I hear it daily, Aaron. I had a guy this morning who said, thank God you're going to help me. I've been thrown to the curb by my ex-union. And I go, how is that possible? I even had one person today tell them that their union lawyer told this person to resign as a way of dealing with the issue. And I had to say to them, the last thing you do is resign. You basically throw away your workplace rights and you disarm yourself and us from doing any option of any activity after that. There is no recourse when you've resigned. Okay, the way that this thing works is that you are afforded some workplace protections, don't forfeit them. And yet the lawyer from the union told this person to resign, to resolve this issue.
Which is the absolute worst thing.
That's the worst advice you could get.
You pay a lawyer for advice. That's what they're there for, right?
That's the worst advice.
Yeah.
And this is what we're faced with. So for us as an entity, we absolutely live and breathe the virtues of what we stand for. We have it written in our weekly shout-outs. If every Friday when we get together as an entity, we all Zoom in from New Zealand, Australia, all over Australia. We call each other out for good work, showing the 5 values that we've got as our internal values.
Okay. Do you want to run through those again?
Get shit done. Hungry and pioneering. Muck in, family. And we have one for courage to fight.
That's absolutely brilliant. It really is. And the first one, which you said under your breath a little bit, but okay.
We call it GSD.
GSD, right.
Get shit done.
It's really funny, actually. We actually have a sponsor here at Edge, GSD. So there you go. There you go. Strata company. So I'd say very similar reasons.
So, it's the old adage, people who don't do something, do.
Yes.
Even if you don't do everything right or you don't do it to the level that you'd like, do something rather than nothing.
Point is, take action.
Take action.
Okay? Nothing will change. If you sit there, you complain about it, you must take action. It's fundamentally important to all of it.
That's right.
I thoroughly agree, mate. Absolutely.
So we subscribe to that. And every week there's, you get called out, you get your name into the, you draw it. So if I said, I'm calling out Aaron for courage to fight, your name would go up on the thing, you'd pull a little thing, you'd be number, whatever it is, a little ball, it goes into the wheelie bin, and then they, like the old lottery system, spins around and one of them pops out, and if number 17 was Aaron Malloy, you win, and you go spin the wheel and you get a prize.
How good is this?
And some of the prizes might be, innocuous stuff, pat on the back, we'll have a laugh. And some of them might be like you can go to a restaurant of your choice or something. And that's something that Jack,
nice to be recognised.
Yeah, that's right. That's something that Jack and Angus and the gang who've been in charge of this company for a long time decided that that's something to sort of provide that important recognition.
Now, some people might, turn their nose at what you've just said. Silly games, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But okay. To me,
it's all about culture,
spot on. Now, most unions don't have anything like that culture. Quite frankly, there's a lot of power games and control, right, with most unions. That's what you tend to find. And exactly what you said to me earlier about the fact that most unions, the people's experience of them when they've asked for help are not getting it. Every single time. Now, we get contacted by people left, right and centre, okay, for all sorts of issues. And when people contact me about unions, it is always, my union won't help, right? I remember when, we're in the middle of everything and we're the nurses, right? Now, we are still in a situation here in Western Australia where we are 4,000 nurses short of what we actually need. And guess how many nurses got fired a couple of years back?
About 4,000.
Spot on.
And here's even worse, Aaron. As I stand here today, I'm fighting for our Fire Rescue Victoria firefighters who are still mandated. They are still mandated by the Commissioner of Fire Rescue Victoria. It is outrageous.
It is outrageous.
And further to the point, not only are they still mandated, they're still taking punitive action against these guys for disobeying what he calls a lawful order. The Commissioner. You're kidding me, aren't you? His directive from October 2022, when I last sent him an email earlier this year asking him to update his directive, basically got a receiving response from their department, from him, saying basically, I'm the Commissioner and this is my response and this is it, take it or leave it. And it's like, you must be joking, mate. Are we that arrogant?
Yeah.
Are we that?
We, the royal we,
Yeah.
they certainly are that arrogant.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's right. And I cannot believe in this day and age, given what is available with resources and knowledge, right, that we're still having this argument that the vaccines didn't save people. They're not safe and effective. They're actually the vast difference to that, which is killing people.
Spot on.
They're disabling people's immune system. Professor Angus Dalglish and a number of experts in oncology have demonstrably shown that they are causing cancers and autoimmune disorders. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even got to the point where the reproductive systems of young people who've taken it are going to be seen. So whether people like it or not, this is real stuff. Okay,
very much so.
Real stuff. And I implore everyone out there to go and see their local councils and ask them to consider putting a motion to support the cessation of these things by having a COVID Royal Commission. Okay. Because at the end of the day, the health of Australia's populace now and for a long time into the future has been compromised. When I say long time in the future, I'm not a doctor, so I can't comment on what will happen, but I am able to read the literature that they write, and I'm not stupid where I can't portray that. So when we start talking about DNA being altered and the human genome being altered from what we've had as the human genome, that is concerning. When we have issues around the survivability of humanity.
These are big issues.
They're not like we didn't like the flavour of the chocolate.
That's right.
Or I don't like that song. Yeah. Or you offended me because you like this Palestine movement or you like this Israel movement. Mate, seriously, these are all issues.
Of course.
And I don't dissuade anyone from fighting for those things. I say this is the biggest issue we will ever encounter for humanity.
There's a lot of distractions that are thrown our way.
Very much.
There's a lot of the shells being moved so that we don't actually talk about this. Yeah. And we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
It needs to be, and I'd love to get you in occasionally if we can, fairly regularly actually, if we could have a bit of an update of what the union's up to, because I think this is a place where we can fight what's going on.
Yeah.
And some people are going to go, oh, geez, this is over. Yeah, why are we still talking about it?
Oh, hang on. Some Peanut on Friday night posed that question to me on Facebook. Get over it, Wayne. This is 2019. Really? Andrew, buddy, hope you see the ramifications of these actions, mate.
Hang on. Should we look at the massive drop in birth rate? Should we look at the fact that, don't know if people realise this, but people have to have babies. Population has to grow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and when women are struggling and we're having all these issues when it comes to birth, carrying of babies, that's just one subject that we know the science actually links that together.
Yeah.
This is something it's fundamentally basic to human development, okay, and moving forward.
Yeah.
This is something we should be talking about.
We should be. And people should be passionate about this because, one thing that's really bugged me is how people have been too ready to cheer for their football team.
Oh, mate.
It's like they're a member of this team and they're going to cheer for that team even if they lose. Mm-hmm. This isn't about cheering for your team. This is about life and death. And as we speak last week, the mRNA factory that was built in Melbourne demonstrably shows that they intend to go on with this.
Of course it is.
All right? So when we talk about the choices that we make now and the choices that we have afforded to us 10, 15, 30 years ago, when I was a boy, it's not going to be the same for our children in their span of life
100%.
if we start by not doing something now. Yep. We have to start.
So, look, a good way of starting is, quite frankly, go and join a movement, a union that's actually going to represent
100%.
you. This is this is something you can do. It's tangible, it's real.
Give us the tools to fight for you, because without members, what do? We look at each other in the mirror.
That's right.
But the more and more, and we're growing every week, Aaron. I think we had something like 138 new members last week.
Fantastic.
So that's great. It's not billions on the planet of the scheme of things, but in terms of our membership, tens of thousands of members, we'll just keep growing and we'll keep growing.
You've got tens of thousands.
Yes, of course
of members. This is not a small thing.
No.
It's a real swell of movement.
It's real. Absolutely. And it's growing every single day. One of my jobs is to call the new members every day in my jurisdiction, and I love it.
Is that right?
I love it. Yeah,
That's a very personal touch.
It is.
I don't know.
I had a lady this morning who's a nurse, and she said, I've never even had a call from my union in the 10 years I was with them. And you call me within 3 hours of me joining. Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, and anyway, I had a chat with her, and she said, I love you guys because I just realised what you stand for. I said, good. Tell everyone about it.
Tell everyone about it.
Tell your workmates about it.
I'm sitting here, I'm seeing such passion. And if you're going to make change, you have to have passion.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, I've got plenty of that.
Oh, mate, you're firing on all cylinders, trust me.
I haven't even started, Aaron.
Well, I better stop him right now. Absolute pleasure having you here, Wayne, really is. Look, look, Wayne Evans, mate, how can we get hold of you? And the
you can email me, wayne.evans@npaaservices.org.au.
Yep.
And otherwise go to www.redunion.com.au. And when you get up there, just go and contact, and you can ring the hotline, you can email the hotline.
Brilliant.
And we will contact you. You will be responded to within 24 hours.
Love it. Okay, we'll throw this out on the socials and share everywhere, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
And
I welcome it.
And let's build it all.
Good man. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
This is, of course, Community Focus here on Edge Radio Australia.